Okay, hello everybody. Thanks IC for presenting us. So I'm happy to be here with Oliver today. So we've been teaming up on a project, and we're going to tell a little bit about the project, but more about the technology, the vision, and the structure behind that. Volumetric video is a technological term, and what we do with this kind of new technology, we will tell you in this talk. So just really a few introduction to UFA for those of you who doesn't know the company. So we are the oldest TV production company in Germany. AC said it, we celebrated 100-year anniversary this year. And at the end of the day, we are part of RTL Group and Bertelsmann. I'm representing UFA LAB. UFA LAB is the digital studio of UFA. We've been doing projects in digital since more or less 10 years now. We focus on all the projects which combine storytelling and digital media, or film and digital media. So it can be online video productions for YouTube and Facebook, can be so-called transmedia projects where we combine different kind of mediums. And of course, since a few years, we are focusing as well on VR, AR, and all those very interesting phenomena. I do the start of our presentation because I want to start with the vision. So since thousands of years, we have this kind of situation. Of course, this photo is from the last century, but the campfire storyteller is like the basic vision of somebody immersing his audience into the story he's telling. And I believe since that time, there's a big dream of humankind to also technologically immerse the people into the story. And that's what storytellers, scientists, artists have worked for centuries and centuries. I think we're pretty close to the end of the journey. So throughout the time, you have this triangle of the story and the vision of the storyteller who wants to tell something. There have been different kind of technologies which are used to transport the story. And of course, there's the user behavior. And the user behavior influences as well if a new kind of medium will be accepted or not, but as well if the story works or if the technology will be improved, etc. I don't want to talk about paintings and photography and all that. Those are all like evolutionary steps. But just if we watch at the medium film, the two productions up there are UFA productions, indeed, from the 1920s. So in the beginning it was silent film, then the talkie came, everybody started to use audio, then we had the color, the Technicolor, and the latest, more or less latest thing was stereoscopy with Avatar and films like that. So even within this evolutionary step called film, we have different evolutionary steps coming closer and closer to the technical immersion. As you all know, a 2D movie already can immerse you completely. A book already can completely immerse you completely. But still, storytellers and scientists are trying to improve different kind of experiences. So what's the end of that road? I believe it's what I call, not to establish a term, but just because I don't get to something else, something like a copied reality. So basically what you have in Matrix or other films and utopies or dystopies. But the interesting thing, of course, is not just to have the open world. This would be like Second Life approach with really good graphics, being really realistic for all senses. But how can people be still part of a narration? So that's the question of the storyteller. How can you combine this complete realistic world with, I could be in this situation and then like a monster is coming out and the plot starts from here. And how could you cope with giving the biggest amount of freedom to the people and interact with as many elements, but still keep them in line with the story you want to tell and not with an open world situation. So there's no solution on that yet, but this is like one core question we are working on and will be working on for the next decades. So where we are now, speaking of evolution, is that, and you all know that, is nothing new. So VR, AR, MR, how you may call it. 360 video, we started doing our first 360 videos in 2013. at that time was really interesting. We couldn't believe that worked because we are never into technology and we are always happy to know, no, it's possible. But we started writing scripts into 3 directions. We thought of how should we shoot fictional 360 if you cannot see the team and the equipment and so on. And yeah, so since then there are thousands, probably millions of 360 videos by now. So this is nothing new, and people are still experimenting how to tell stories in 360. There's no final solution for that. But still, we are also moving on. When I heard first time of volumetric video, there are different kind of terms for that as well. I don't want to talk about terms, but I hope you know what we're talking about after this presentation, because we will explain it. I heard of it like 2 years ago. I was, of course, very interested. And when I saw it last year in March in California, I at that point immediately said, okay, well, that's the next evolutionary step. Now we can create walkable movies. So how we do it, we will show in a second. We have a small making of an experience we're going to launch next week. It's going to be launched in the Film Museum of Berlin, starting being public on Friday next week. So we don't have it ready yet. It's still 1 week to go, so a lot of time to do fixes. But we have a making of, and I think this already explains quite a bit. Now we have to switch to the video, and let's see if that works. Sound activated? Yeah, cool. No, there should be sound on it. Can you retry, please? Sound ist eigentlich drin. Das ist komisch. Thanks.
Eigentlich gibt es den Traum der kompletten Immersion des Nutzers seit Tausenden von Jahren.
Das Besondere für das UFA LAB und auch für die UFA ist natürlich hier, dass wir die Chance bekommen haben, ein neues Medium an einem sehr, sehr frühen Entwicklungsstand mitgestalten zu dürfen.
Also jetzt wird endlich die Vision möglich, die Leute in Filmen herumlaufen zu lassen.
Volumetrischer Film ist eigentlich der begehbare Film. Den Film, in dem man sich umschauen kann, in dem man frei seine Blickwinkel festlegen kann. Eigentlich das ultimative VR-Erlebnis.
Was für uns aber natürlich wichtig ist, ist die inhaltliche Komponente. Also wo kommt jetzt ein Mehrwert für den Zuschauer her? Warum erzählt man eine Geschichte in diesem neuen Medium und nicht im klassischen 2D-Film oder in einem 360-Grad-Video?
Was natürlich neu für uns ist, dass wir eine ganz neue Welt denken müssen, in denen der Zuschauer selber seinen Blickwinkel festlegen kann und in denen er alles sehen kann.
Die Technologie des Volumetric Video besteht im Wesentlichen darin, dass wir hier in diesem Studio eine große Anzahl von Kameras montieren, rundherum insgesamt 32 Stück. Das Besondere ist, dass wir mit dieser Technologie Personen sehr, sehr realistisch rekonstruieren können und eben im Gegensatz zur klassischen Avatar-Animation eben hier die Bewegung, die Gesichtsausdrücke der Schauspieler vollständig erfassen.
Allgemein würde man sagen, das ist wie ein Hologramm. Es wird eine 3D-Geometrie erzeugt, die in eine virtuelle Welt oder auch in die Augmented Reality eingeführt werden kann. Und dadurch entsteht eigentlich eine virtuelle Realität. Wir haben für dieses Projekt 32 5K-Kameras zum Einsatz gebracht. Da ist man schnell bei 160K pro Frame. Und das sind natürlich Mengen, die mit normaler Produktionsmethoden eigentlich nicht mehr zu stemmen sind.
Wie bei der 360-Grad-Produktion ist es so, dass einzelne Szenen schon auch als One-Takes ohne Schnitt sozusagen produziert werden. Das Besondere hier ist allerdings, dass wir nur einzelne Schauspieler haben, die ganz abgekoppelt von der gesamten Umgebung, in der sie nachher eingesetzt werden, als auch von ihrem Spielpartner abgefilmt werden. Ja. Das war eine ganz neue Herausforderung auch für die Regie, die sich natürlich darum kümmern musste, wie die Schauspieler auch mit ihren Ansprechpartnern interagieren und auch wie die Schauspieler sich im Raum selber bewegen.
Zum anderen war es uns wichtig, auch was zu erzählen, was mit der Geschichte der UFA zu tun hat. Ein ganzes Leben bringt zum einen den Nutzer ein 20er-Jahres-Set. Das heißt, wir haben die direkte Verbindung der Ursprünge der UFA mit dem, was heute technologisch möglich ist. Das ist, glaube ich, sehr spannend auch für Leute und tatsächlich ein Mehrwert, auch mal die Atmosphäre eines Filmsets von damals richtig zu erleben.
Es ist sehr inspirierend, dass für 100 Jahre die UFA eigentlich technische Pionierleistung erbracht hat auf dem Gebiet der Filmproduktion und wir jetzt eigentlich genau das Gleiche machen mit dem volumetrischen Film.
Es ist immer ein bisschen schwer zu erklären, was begehbare Filme sind. Bei Virtual Reality generell ist es immer schwer, das in Präsentationen zu zeigen. Es ist ein Medium, das muss man einfach erleben. Also ich habe so viele Leute erlebt, die das zum ersten Mal gemacht haben und einfach total aus dem Häuschen waren. Also es ist was sich richtig schwer übersetzen lässt, wenn man es nicht selber probiert hat. Insofern kann ich nur jeden ermutigen, setzt euch die Brille auf und erlebt so ein Experience.
Yeah, welcome everybody. I will continue with some more details about the technology behind. I'm leading, together with Ingo Feldmann, my colleague, research group, where we developed with our team all the algorithms, but also the acquisition system for volumetric video. And so the main aim, main objective for us was to create real and photorealistic reconstructions of persons. So to be able to integrate these 3D reconstructions into CGI scenes and to create completely new VR experiences. And our approach is multi-view video 3D reconstruction. So, as you know, in the classical way, avatars, artificial characters are created and then an actor's motion is captured and then the motion is transferred to the model, which has several drawbacks. And our approach is to capture the actor as he's performing with all his facial expressions, with the clothes moving and so on. And the result of this process is then sequence of wireframes which can be integrated in any rendering engine. So together with UFA, we created or we performed the first production in March this year. And here you see some images from the setting. At this time, we used 12 cameras occupying 200 degrees around the actor, and we used green screen to segment the objects out of the scene, and we ended up with all the different views, the 12 different views. So we captured these video streams from the 12 cameras. We performed the keying, and then we applied our multi-view 3D reconstruction pipeline. By the way, we are working on multi-view video since almost 15 years. So we started with stereo, we extended it to trifocal systems, and now we end up with 12 camera systems in this case, and since 3 weeks we use 32 cameras. So the scientific expertise has been further developed to manage these complex computer vision tasks. So after this 3D reconstruction process, we end up with a 3D point cloud per frame, which is around about 20-30 million points, in order to end up with a format which is possible to use for render engines, we need wireframes, so we have to do meshing. And after the meshing of the point cloud, we still end up with 10 million faces. So we have to reduce the number of faces to end up with a reasonable dimension of the mesh per frame. And after that, we have this sequence of wireframes which can then composite it in any VR scene. Luckily, we have a regional funded project where we further want to explore the whole workflow and further improve the workflow. And the two companies we are collaborating with are also here, which is Trotskind and InVR. So with these two companies, we will further develop the workflow. But we already reached a reasonable good state. So this was the pipeline. But now I will briefly introduce our new studio concept. So that's a drawing which we created in, well, mid of this year. So it's a rotunda of 5 meters in diameter. And the key difference of this concept compared to other players in this domain is that we have a white background, so we avoid green screen. And due to this, the white background, which is lit, we achieve diffuse lighting from any direction. So if you imagine you have these reconstructed dynamic 3D models, you put them in a VR scene, you want to relight them in the scene to get the best possible and realistic integration of the dynamic 3D model in the scene. So therefore the model has to be captured very diffuse with no directed light on it itself. So this kind of setup allows us to get the diffuse lighting all around the actor. As mentioned, we are currently using 32 cameras, which are distributed in 16 stereo pairs. So the base system is a stereo system, and we fuse all the depth maps from the stereo pairs. Another important issue compared to other competitors is that we target high quality, high resolution cameras. We use 20 megapixel cameras, which provides us really good original footage on which we can run our vision-based stereo and multi-view algorithms. Obviously, there is also audio capturing integrated. And so this concept has been become to reality since 3 or 4 weeks. The studio is set up, and 3 weeks ago we did our first production together with UFA, and are now testing the complete studio and the complete setup, the camera arrangement, the lighting, and so on. And yeah, we will further develop the workflow to be very professional, and our plan is to offer this studio to anybody who is interested in volumetric video to make productions with us in the near future. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, now chapter 3, production. So I can say a little bit about the project we're doing. So what is a walkable movie? It's a fictional scene. As you have heard, the actors are captured separately. We put them together in a virtual environment. In this case, it's a film set of the 1920s. You have the director and an actress, and they're working on a silent movie together. And then there is a second part of the experience, which I don't want to spoiler now. But yeah, basically it's the user can choose his own position. He can run around in the film scene. He can explore, he can discover things he wouldn't see if he would just be a static viewer. So that's a really added value to a 360 video where you can look around but not move, not come closer. You can walk around actors. In one case you can find a secret on the back of the actress. So we are right now developing different scripts where we try to really find this added value. And you've heard this term 2 times in the video, and it's the most important for me for all the new phenomenons we are working on. If there is no added value in a 360 video to a 2D film, then don't do a 360 video. And the same I always say for this kind of movies. It's very by now it's very complicated and compared. A lot of people involved and a lot of risk because the technology is new. Use it if you have an added value, then it's great. But if you could tell the story as well as a 2D movie, then spare time and money. But of course, we want to explore where's the benefit, where's the added value. So here you see some of the models. So those are real actors. You can see you have different views of them, and the quality is good. So of course, we're just getting started. I mean, I don't want to think of where all this is in 2 or 3 years. I think it will be a lot further, of course. But today, I think it's really great to have those kind of results. Added value, I already said it. We can skip that one. So some things I could go on, but the most important things maybe we've been stepping on in this production. So of course, you have to know the technology. So what's possible in this technology, what is not. So by now it's not possible that the volumetric actors move around. So they have an ratio like this, and they can move and they can turn and other things, but they cannot walk 4 meters to another place. So by now it's kind of a static situation. And of course there's no interactivity really between the user and the actors. So it's video, it's still video, so it's passive. So you're an passive user in this situation. Of course, you can include interactivity with objects, with the environment. You can have call to actions to persuade people to change their position. But you have to consider all those aspects when you create a script and a vision of the movie you're planning. This leads us to scripts. So scripts are different. As said before, for 360, we started writing scripts in 3 directions. Here, it's another thing. So what we are working on right now are situations with a lot more people involved, which we hopefully will produce in the next year. And there, of course, how do you write a script when you have things going on in parallel, and if you can select if you hear something of that group is saying or that. If when you change the position, the whole perception of the scene will change. So there are really interesting things coming up. Timing is very important. As we heard before, it's one-takers. So you have, a scene of 2 minutes. You capture actor 1 and 2, and of course it has to be synchronized somehow. So we try to work on that in this production, and I think we found at least 2 takes at the end, which fit perfectly to each other, but it's a lot about timing at that point. The space itself, so how big is your space? In our experience, it's 2 to 4 meters, and what do you do with this 2 to 4 meters? Once again, how you can perceive the scene if you are 2 meters away, what will it change? So the whole space aspect includes new questions and answers. Acting is a challenge for actors. Actors are used to being alone, like in a green screen studio, but in this situation, it's even harder for them. But they have to go through that. And of course, the director did a good job in really getting empathy for the actors and how would they feel in this like white cube, and what would they need to understand the scene and get the best acting out of it. Audio is, like in 360, it's really important. Spatial audio is important. How can you use it to create the user journey, to direct people from one end of the room to the other. yeah, so there are more aspects to which are important with audio, but I think yeah, the time is not long enough to cover all those aspects. By this, we're coming to the end. As I said before, you can experience this walkable film in Deutsche Kinemathek, Museum for Film and Fernsehen, starting next week on Friday. It's part of the big exhibition for UFA 100-year anniversary. So there's like a big story told from Metropolis and all that to our volumetric film. Those are the partners involved. Everybody did a great job, and as you can see, you need a different kind of expertise and also some funding to really create such a project. And I think, I don't know how much time we have, then we would be open for questions at this point. No? No time? No questions? Okay. Yes. Then we're around here, so you can approach us later.
We can take, let's say, 2 questions, because you're 2 on stage. So, who has the first question? Here. Can we have a microphone for this gentleman, please? And who will be the second question? You only have one other shot. Okay, so you are the one and only. You may have 1 question. Hold on, the microphone is coming. Here we go.
Thank you.
Can you please tell us who you are and who you are directing the question to?
My name is Stefan Kim from the University of Applied Sciences in Brandenburg, and I have a technical question to Dr. Schreer. In the new setup for acquiring the pictures, what actually is the reason to use stereoscopic cameras instead of lots of monoscope cameras as before? I wonder if it improves the algorithm to reconstruct the 3D cloud.
It's a good question. Thank you. I guess, well, first of all, we have 15 years of experience on stereo vision, and we believe that creating robust, temporally consistent point cloud with multi-view, it's the best, at least in our mind, it's the best approach is to have depth estimates from different viewing directions and then fuse the information. So a lot of important aspects and work is done in our fusion approach, how to fuse all the 3D data consistently all around. And imagine if you distribute these cameras equally, you have to do any correspondence analysis anyhow between the cameras, and the larger the baseline, which is very technological now, the larger the baseline, the more difficult is and inaccurate is the estimation. So smaller baseline is more helpful for robust depth estimates and fusing the depth estimates from different stereo systems. That's our approach, and that's what we are convinced about.
Okay, if you want some more technical details, there is a lounge here where the speakers are happy to go to and take further questions. Also, Kristian will be here around a little bit. So this is wonderful. Thank you so much. I was just saying about Google, it's getting technical here. I was tweeting all the time. And I was like, this is...